Good morning, this is your Stat Sensei, Mr. Spensei, and this part of the test review, this is the second video. So a sample of 942 homeowners are classified. And by the way, we look in the table and they go, oh, there's a total number that's at 942. In the two-way frequency table below by the number of credit cards they have and the number of years they have owned their current home. So number of credit card, number of years owning the home. Of the homeowners in the sample who have four or more credit cards. Okay, so they're telling us of this group. So from the group of four or more, so that tells me that's like saying given, and remember it's intersection over given. So that's telling me from the group of four or more, this group we have 212. That's the group that I was taken from. What proportion have owned their current homes for less than 1 year? Well, less than 1 year, we're looking for that intersection, which is where the two streets cross. So we end up with 134 over 212. So our best answer choice is B for that one. Number 13, the relative frequency table shows reasons by high school students for their last absence from school. Okay, so 57%, 20%, 16%, 7%, they all add up to 100%. Please remember, 0.07 is a percent. Okay. Which of the following statements is not supported? So there's that keyword not. So this tells me I'm looking for a false statement. More than half of the students were absent because of illness. Yeah, 57. That's greater than half. Half is 50%. This is a true statement, and we're looking for a false. More than 1/3 of the students were absent because of oversleeping or college. Or means we need to add. So 20% and 16%, add those up, and they add 20 plus 16 equals 36%. And that's more than 1/3. 1/3 is 33%. And if you're not sure, you can take your calculator and go 1/3 equals X over 100, because this is 100%. And 1 times 100 divided by 3 is 33%. And we just found 36, so that's more. So that's true. The reason given the least number of times was did not finish an assignment. All right, that was given 7%. So yes, that's definitely the least amount. Only 7 students were absent because we can't say that. That's only true if there's 100 students. What if there was 200 students? What if there was 10 students? We don't know how many students there were, so we can't say that because we don't know how many there were. So that one's false. All right. So here we go. This is going to be a little bit difficult since I don't have this printed out. What is the predictive value of the test? That is, what is the probability a person has HIV and test positive? Has HIV and test positive. That keyword is and. And tells me intersection. Okay, anytime you have a table, add up the totals. So 35 and 5 is 40, 25 and 435 is 460. That adds up to 500. This plus this equals 60. This plus this is 400. You need to add those up. So it says and, so that means I'm looking for the joint probability. So what's the probability a person has HIV? Well, has HIV is right here. And test positive. Okay, so the probability that they have that is 35 out of the total of 500. So the intersection over total is what we were looking for there. So 35 out of 500. All right, which is what we have written there. And when we divide that out, we get answer choice A. The next question. What is the probability of testing positive given that the person does not have HIV? Well, please remember, given means anytime you have given, that's going to be intersection over given. All right, well, what were we given? Given that the person does not have HIV. Well, does not have HIV, well, that's 460, so that's what I was given. And what's the probability of testing positive? Positive is right here, intersection, that's where the streets cross, so 25 out of 460. And we get 0.054. Best answer choice, again, is A. All right, holding the paper up a little bit, see if this helps. Probably won't. Giving it a try. All right, number 6. What is the probability of testing positive given that the person has HIV? Once again, there's that keyword given. All right, which anytime it's given, it's intersection over given. Do this in blue. So probability of testing positive. Well, testing positive, given, what were we given? They have HIV. So have HIV, that's what we were given. And the intersection is testing positive. So I need to look at the testing positive. The intersections where the streets cross, they cross at 35. So I have 35 over 40, which is 0.875. So my best answer choice to 16 is E. Finally, on to number 17. What is the probability of testing negative given that the person does not have HIV? All right, so testing negative, and it's given. So we know it's going to be an intersection over given. I don't know if this highlighter is going to work, but I'm going to given, what were we given? Given the person does not have HIV. So not HIV is 460. All right. And testing negative. So we're looking at testing negative, and where the streets cross, they cross at 435. So we have 435 over 460. So that gives us 0.946 is our best answer. Answer choice E. All right, continuing on. Number 18. The following data collected from a random sample of 2,500 people who recently went on a vacation who indicated their favorite parts of their vacation. Notice this 2,500 that's highlighted here is the same here because that's my overall total. Based on the table, what proportion of the people selected gave a response other than shopping as the part of their vacation? All right. Based on the table, portion of people selected gave a response other than shopping. So in other words, we're going to exclude this section. We're excluding this 575. So now, instead of 575, or instead of 2,500, we have 2,500 minus 575. So that's 1,925. Because if I add up 730 plus 475 plus 720, that's 1925. So 1,925 over the 2,500. Because what we're interested in is this group right here. This is the group that we're interested in. All right, let's pause the video for just a second. Okay, it says using the table, the data from the table above, calculate the following. Well, first thing I need to do is I need to enter all this data into L1. So this should all be in one column. So going to my calculator, I'm going to press stat and then edit. And I'm going to enter all that data in L1. If I have stuff I don't want, I'm going to arrow up, press clear, and press enter. That gets rid of it. Then I'm going to type in all those 20 data points. So in this case, there, I've got them all typed in. So I have 120, 85, 90, et cetera, and it goes all the way through all in one group. Now I'm going to press stat, arrow over one space to calc, one variable statistics, and this needs to say L1. So press the blue button followed by 1. We don't need to turn our freak on. And we have 91.85. So my X bar, my um, sample mean is 91.85. That's the sample. And by the way, this is mean or average. So it calculated the average, it added them all up and divided. And we find out that our average was 91.85. The next thing it asks for is the standard deviation of the population. And that's just that symbol. It matches it exactly on the calculator. So 12.075, typed in 12.08, but if you write 12.075, that's fine. N is the sample size. Well, when I look, it says it's 20, and that makes sense because I inputted 20 data points. 22, the minimum value. Well, the minimum value is 75. So if I put them in order from least to greatest, my minimum value is 75. Continuing on. The next thing it asks for is Q1. Q1 is 82.5. So 25% of the data is 82.5 or less. The next thing it asks for is the median. I have to push the down arrow and then my median pops up and I see that it's 90. Then Q3 is 75% or the third quartile, which is 100. And then finally, the max value is 120. All right. Then it asks us to calculate Q3 minus Q1. This is basically the IQR. That's what it's asking us to calculate. Q3 minus Q1. Well, what did we say Q1 was? We said Q1 is 82.5, and we said Q3 is 100. So our IQR is 100 minus 82.5, that's 17.5. And I'm going to go ahead and label that IQR just to remind us of that. Okay. The next thing, it says for 28 to 32, list in least to greatest order the value that makes up the 5-number summary. Least to greatest order and 5-number summary. Our 5-number summary is made up of our minimum, our Q1, our median, our Q3, and our max. In that order. Minimum, Q1, median, Q3, and max. That's the 5-number summary. So here we go. Minimum, first quartile, median, third quartile, max. Min, Q1, median, Q3, and max. And if you think you're going to forget it, guess what? It's in that order in the calculator every single time. Minimum, Q1, median, Q3, and max. All right, this concludes this video. Appreciate you watching and sure hope to see you on the next one. Good luck studying. Thank you.